Some classes go to the Minneapolis Institute of Art, which is great, but we go to Minnehaha and Lake Street.
At ground zero of the global movement that followed George Floyd's murder, St. Thomas art history students develop a new lens with focus from Dr. Heather Shirey.
I just want you to look at them and just notice what kinds of messages you see.
While some see vandalism or criminal activity, Shirey sees art.
Would you stop and look at it if you were walking by, and why?
Class guest Dr. Todd Lawrence wonders who sees.
It's almost like it's like calling at you to stop and like look.
But I thought that the fire and the phoenix represented like burning, like Minnesota or Minneapolis becoming anew.
It's really powerful when someone can put up something that grabs your attention.
Urban art makes for powerful curriculum and also has the research attention of St. Thomas's College of Arts and Sciences.
It's not unlike what it would have been like to live in, let's say, Italian Renaissance Florence, when you're walking around and you're seeing fresco paintings and you're seeing sculptures in public space and you're reading this kind of dialogue that's about power and whose voices are expressed.
The core idea of our project is, that walls speak, that this is communication.
St. Thomas began listening to Twin Cities Walls in fall 2018.
I think it'll be a great idea if we can get this 360 camera and put a few segments here.
With student partners, early research focused on St. Paul's Midway neighborhood, looking at how art spoke to gentrification and mapping findings.
But the project has, really just totally transformed with the killing of George Floyd, and specifically the fact that that killing was captured on video. It had such a visceral impact on our community. We went in that direction, and we never looked back.
Instead, they looked closer at the canvas that blossomed on walls, such as those surrounding the burned-out 3rd Police Precinct.
This is not unthoughtful.
With interdisciplinary eyes and ears, this team considers the streets a gallery.
Everything is equal. This graffiti on the pavement is just as valuable to us as something by a professional artist.
Dr. Shirey applies her art history background.
What we're seeing here shows that these boards are really contested space. If you don't like someone's message, it gets buffed over.
Dr. Paul Laura, a geographer, looks at where art appears and why.
There's no curation happening here. There's no sort of no one's deciding what is more important and what isn't, but they are.
And Dr. Lawrence, a folklorist from English, seeks stories.
You didn't like silence. Are we loud enough?
Together, they listen to the walls that are transforming urban streets.
This might be the largest proliferation of art in the street around one single issue or event in the history of the world.
And constantly changing. The Living Street Art Gallery would lack preservation if not for the St. Thomas team's research.
And with the database, we have thousands and thousands of submissions, not just from the Twin Cities, but from all over the world.
The online database called George Floyd and Anti-Racist Street Art Archive preserves the walls, allowing the art to speak to those who will listen.
I like this shot
Isn't that great?
a lot.
Olivia Jo Crosatheo is one of dozens of Tommies who have joined and helped the urban art mapping team.
It doesn't even feel like
does this
rigorous
work?
academic research.
Right, you just walk away and you see the world in a slightly different way. So
This double major in psychology and family studies stretches her horizons, building individual web pages called story maps, where images, locations, and stories intersect.
It didn't feel like I was a student and they were the teacher. It felt very much like we were learning together, we were discovering together, and we were creating together, which was the best part of it all.
Sometimes they bring to the project some ideas that we would have never come up with that come from their disciplines.
As of fall 2021, the academics and students had built 2 primary online databases, the George Floyd and Anti-Racist Street Art Archive and the COVID-19 Street Art Archive. More than 3,500 images and growing, most crowdsourced and from around the globe.
At the height of the uprising, there are lots of people who felt like they wanted to be involved, but they didn't feel like they could go out in the streets and participate. And so photographing street art and getting those messages preserved by way of the database felt like a kind of action.
We think that's one of the underlying motivations for this project is social justice as well. And we're putting students in a position to do work that can publicize artists that are fighting for social justice.
St. Thomas's street art effort is interdisciplinary, collaborative, and ultimately the liberal arts in action.
We're looking at the expressions, oftentimes, of Black and brown people who their voices have been not paid attention to. And we feel like it's our responsibility to, as much as we can, preserve those voices and those conversations, and our students are really committed to it.
The walls are speaking, and St. Thomas is listening.
But that's what the project sort of makes you do. It makes you pay attention where you didn't pay attention before.